Democrats are trying to frame Trump, according to Watters. Fox News' Jesse Watters gives his take on the anti-ICE rioters clashing with police in Los Angeles on Jesse Watters Primetimes on Fox News. Sorry. Let's take a look at what he has had to say about this whole situation.
We ain't afraid of you!
Chaos in Los Angeles. Stores looted, cars burnt to a crisp, and American flags torched. Anarchists and dirt bikes are waving Mexican flags around LA while the city's engulfed in flames. And they love this country so much that they're waving the flag. So why do they hate the idea of being sent back? This doesn't look like assimilation. This looks like what it is, an invasion. This all started Friday afternoon. ICE agents were assisting a federal drug and money laundering raid in downtown LA, when all of a sudden, dozens of protesters showed up and clashed with officers on the scene. The mayor of Los Angeles didn't stop it. She told LAPD to stand down for hours and hung federal agents out to dry. Karen Bass told Trump, "Keep your hands off my Biden migrants."
We are going to fight for all Angelenos, regardless of when they got here, whether they have papers or not. We are a city of immigrants, and this impacts hundreds of thousands of Angelenos.
While rioters were raising hell, Democrats chose sides.
ICE get out of LA so that order can be restored.
If they're escalating their tactics, then so are we. When they show up, we gotta show up even stronger.
By Saturday morning, cop cars were getting pelted with rocks, and officers had to start deploying tear gas. The media told us, don't worry, the protests are mostly peaceful.
Most of the crowds, again, that I saw, that I spoke to, that I was interacting with, these are peaceful people that want to get their message across.
Most of those demonstrations were very peaceful.
The reality is we see peaceful protests launching in Los Angeles.
What did happen in 1992 was so different from what we're seeing now. I mean, that was a real riot.
What about the cars on fire? ABC says it's just people having fun.
There's a large group of people. It could turn very volatile if you move law enforcement in there in the wrong way and turn what is just a bunch of people having fun watching cars burn into a massive confrontation and altercation between officers and demonstrators.
No, police weren't having fun. The chief of LA County says he was outmanned.
We are overwhelmed as far as the number of people out there engaged in this type of activity and the type of things that they're doing. They'll take backpacks, and the backpack will have a cinder block in it. They have a hammer, and they'll break up the cinder block and use that, pass it around to throw at officers, to throw at cars, and throw at other people.
By 6 o'clock on Saturday, the city was on fire, and Trump had to call in 2,000 National Guard for backup. Now it's up to 4,000. Trump didn't wait for permission from the governor like the last summer of love. Now there's a new policy. When they spit, we hit.
If we see danger to our country and to our citizens, we'll be very, very strong in terms of law and order. It's about law and order. When they spit at people, they spit. That's their new thing. They spit, and worse, you know what they throw at them, right? And when that happens, I have a little statement. They say, they spit, we hit. And I told them, nobody's going to spit on our police officers. Nobody's going to spit on our military.
Protesters liked spitting, but they didn't like getting hit.
You told me you got caught up in the tear gas as well. Describe what happened to you.
Oh, just tasted a little tear gas. Tasted like fascism.
The media rushed to blame Trump.
It didn't really reach this point of the scale and the intensity of this protest and the scale and the intensity of the confrontation between protesters and law enforcement until National Guard troops were deployed here today. That very much poured gasoline on the flames, and that very much led to the LAPD, acting as in as widespread and aggressive a manner as we saw them acting today.
Now, the press said everything was mostly peaceful until the National Guard showed up. But the New York Times is reporting the National Guard hasn't even engaged with the protesters at all. National Guard troops appeared to largely refrain from engaging with demonstrators. So that debunks the hoax that Trump incited the riots. Karen Bass, who told cops to stand down, said the streets weren't really dangerous until Trump mobilized the Guard.
What we're seeing in Los Angeles is chaos that is provoked by the administration. When you run armored caravans through our streets, you cause fear and you cause panic. And deploying federalized troops is a dangerous escalation.
Even Kamala weighed in, saying deploying National Guard is a dangerous escalation meant to provoke chaos. Yeah, the guy who ran on Law and Order wants to provoke chaos. Makes no sense. Democrats are trying to frame Trump as a heavy-handed dictator, even though the city was on fire before he sent the Guard in. Newsom, who could have called up the Guard himself, is suing Trump for protecting his state.
Fox News is calling it the LA riots. Is it a peaceful protest? What's happening? What are you seeing?
Well, I mean, look, Donald Trump has created the conditions you see on your TV tonight. He's exacerbated the conditions. He's, lit the proverbial match. He's putting fuel on this fire ever since he announced he was taking over the National Guard. An illegal act, an immoral act, an unconstitutional act, and we're going to test that theory with a lawsuit tomorrow.
Hold on, let me just pause that for a second, and we're going to keep reacting to it because I just don't understand. I mean, I do understand but I don't actually why the fear of the National Guard. I mean, the National Guard, we're treating them as if they are monsters that we got locked up. That all of a sudden if we take them out of their cage, they're going to attack people and destroy people, right, and kill everybody, and just it makes no sense. That you put soldiers out there, they're just like police and law enforcement. They're not going to attack anybody. If they don't get attacked on, if people don't loot, riot, burn the flag, more or less, loot businesses, attack people, break bricks apart and throw them at vehicles, then nothing will be done. Well, I mean, in that sense, I really don't understand why it becomes an issue that the National Guard. How is the National Guard escalating anything? You can make your argument that the raids are uncalled for, that they're targeting certain individuals, that you may not like them at Home Depot, that you may not like. There's accusations that they've gone committed raids. ICE has committed raids at churches during worship. While they're working, while they're putting the roofs, while they're doing all of that, right? You can make your argument in that sense. And I've made my argument here on that we need to start looking at it, a little bit different when it comes to sober, moral, imprudent, law-abiding people that pay their taxes, have a job, and have a court date, and have a process ongoing, right? I've made my case on that. But just to say that the National Guard, just by being deployed and standing there, all of a sudden that freaks people out, and the danger of having the military out there, that makes absolute zero sense. So let's continue.
Newsom wants to send the National Guard home. Less law enforcement makes the streets safer? Didn't we learn our lesson already with defund the police? Remember, they blame Trump for the fires, too, and the homeless and the crime and the drugs. They say it's all Trump's fault. Newsom spent $20 million to Trump-proof California, and they can't even police their streets and put out a fire. Tom Homan says if Gavin keeps obstructing, he's going to slap him with federal charges. Gavin says, lock me up.
The fear, the horror, the hell is this guy? Come after me, arrest me. Let's just get it over with. Tough guy. I don't give a damn. But I care about my community. I care about this community. The hell are they doing? These guys need to grow up. They need to stop. And we need to push back. And I'm sorry to be so clear, but that kind of bloviating is exhausting. So, Tom, arrest me. Let's go.
Trump says don't tempt him with a good time.
Gavin Newsom he's daring Tom Homan to come and arrest him. Should he do it?
I would do it if I were Tom. I think it's great. Gavin likes the publicity, but I think it would be a great thing. He's done a terrible job. Look, I like Gavin Newsom. He's a nice guy, but he's grossly incompetent. Everybody knows. All you have to do is look at the little railroad he's building. It's about 100 times over budget. We're putting a flagpole over there. Under budget. I always do under budget.
Mad Max.
Anyways, and we're gonna get to Maxine Waters here in just 1 second. By the way, that was Jesse Waters and explaining how Democrats are trying to frame Trump. Listen, Trump is doing what people voted him to do, and whether you like it or not, that's what the American people voted for. I'm a Hispanic man, a Hispanic American, born actually in Peru, as I've said it a million times. And listen, people voted for it. I mean, I voted for Trump. I thought he was a better candidate of Kamala Harris. You can't blame American people for voting for the best candidate. And he was voted to do this. That's what he was voted to do. So it makes no sense to complain on what he's doing. You can again argue um, what I was arguing about sober, moral, and prudent immigrants that could be given an opportunity, and I think that would add a little bit of humility and a humane side to this thing that would be in favor of Trump and would be in favor of ICE and Home and etc.